Good evening, Martree. It's Matt Wright, Superintendent of Martree School District, bringing you your Monday update. A lot of information to cover. A lot of information has come out, so we're going to dive right in. We're going to start with we have issued our survey on our school Facebook page. Now, that survey is serving as a source of data for us as we try to build the best school year that we can, given the unique set of circumstances that we are having to work with. If you haven't taken that survey, there's no reason to fret. That link on our Facebook page will be active through the end of the day Thursday. Plus, in the morning, we're going to post that on marchtreeschools.org and marchtreeschools.com, our school webpage. And so you can also go there to complete that information for us. If you know someone who doesn't have internet, if you will reach out to them, let them know if they'll call the elementary school office or the high school office during normal business hours. We will gladly ask them those questions over the phone, and they can give us their answers so that we can build in their feedback. It's important to us to gather all the voices that we can from our stakeholders. That's how we create the best experience for all of us next year. And it's going to be hard enough to have a great school year. But if we can get all the voices together that we can, we feel like we can create a solid plan. I was able this weekend to take the big questions from the survey and align that to some information that has come out over the past couple of weeks from the Department of Health and the Department of Education, and take that information from ADH and ADE and kind of tailor make those responses to fit our unique situation here in Martree School District. Surprisingly, the number one question, the most common question, was, when will school start? Certainly not what I expected. Our school year is scheduled to start as normal on August the 13th. Now, we're planning for all students to be present that day, except for those students who are going to take advantage of our virtual learning option. But other than that, if you're not participating in that virtual learning option, then we will expect for you to be at school on August the 13th. What I thought would be the big question: will students be required to wear masks? Now, here's what I want to say. Based off the research and based off of our learning since the coronavirus has started, initially what we learned was that a mask prevents someone who is asymptomatic from spreading the coronavirus. However, we have since learned that a mask reduces your chances of contracting the coronavirus, even if you're around someone who's asymptomatic and does not have on a mask. And so that was an important piece of information. Now, if you've asked us the question over the past couple of weeks, our answers went back and forth. Ultimately, what we're going to be doing is we're going to follow the instructions of the ADH, the CDC, and the Department of Education. As the numbers have started going up, the governor has changed his instructions. On Friday, the governor said that everyone ages 10 and up should wear masks. So let me read to you the recommendation that came forth from the Department of Health. It reads, the general public should wear face coverings in all indoor settings where they are exposed to non-household members and distancing of 6 feet or more cannot be assured. Now, this applies to schools. It goes on to give a list of different places, but it does apply to school. The big thing there is the distancing of 6 feet. So it also goes on to say that the general public should wear face coverings in all outdoor settings where they are exposed to non-household members unless there's ample space of 6 feet or more to practice physical distancing. So over the past 3 weeks, we've had 3 different answers, but that's because we're going to follow the guidelines set forth by the ADH. Now, as those requirements or those plans change, our plan has also changed. And I know that's frustrating. It's as frustrating for me as it is for you, even more so because we're trying to create a solid plan to keep all of our kids safe, and it's constantly changing. However, I do recognize that the Department of Health, the governor, the Department of Education, right now, they're acting off the best information that's available to them. And so we certainly understand the situation that they are in. And I do think that as we get closer to the school starting, that recommendations will be replaced with directives. And so once those directives are issued, we won't have much of a choice. Now, here's what I can tell you. we will be expecting kids to wear masks in situations where social distancing is not possible. For example, the one that just pops into mind like that is when high school kids change classes. When high school kids change classes, we're going to expect them to have masks on. There's no way that we can maintain social distancing in the hallways. And so, to ensure student safety, I'm sure you remember what a high school hallway is like. We all know that them being in masks during that transition time is the best way to guarantee their safety. In the meantime, we'll continue looking for solutions to that problem. If this was an ideal situation, we would be able to figure out something where kids don't have to wear masks at all. But until that occurs, we've got to do what we can to protect our kids. If buses are allowed to run, we will expect for students to wear masks on a bus. That's not a Montgomery School Board decision. That's not an administrative decision. That's not a teacher decision. That is an ADH decision. Now, you might be wondering, do I need to go out and get my kids masks? No, you do not. We have every kid masks ordered. Those are supposed to be here by the end of June. We'll have those well in advance of school starting, and so don't let that be a concern. Another piece of information that I want to share about masks. If you are not a school employee or a student of Montgomery School District, you will be expected to wear a mask upon entering our buildings. No exceptions. Here's why. This isn't about your safety. This isn't about my safety. This isn't about teacher safety. What this is about is the safety of every 5 through 18-year-old that's under our care during the school day. And that we take that responsibility very serious. And we know that by requiring people to wear masks, we are helping guarantee their safety. And so that will be an expectation of people from outside of the district, whether it's a salesman, whether it's a parent, whether it's somebody stopping by because they want to see the new school, which we probably wouldn't allow them to come in during the school days anyways. But if you're not a school employee, you're not a student, you will be in a mask. So that's something we'll be very firm about. Another common question was, how can you social distance in a school? Well, 100% of the time, you can't. So we will rearrange our rooms to allow for social distancing to occur. We don't anticipate kids having to wear masks in their classroom. But that's why it's important for us to have the availability of masks so that we can transition in and out of masks as needed for student safety. Classrooms will be rearranged to provide distance, but yet we still want to make sure that kids are able to participate and effectively communicate in class, and we certainly will be able to make that happen. Another question was, what happens if someone tests positive? Well, when and if that occurs, we will follow the guidelines that are going to be set forth by the ADH. That will likely mean a temporary shutdown of a building or the district while cleaning and contract tracing takes place. Now, what I just said about shutting down a building, that might raise a concern for some of you. I know some of our parents have students in elementary school and high school. You might be counting on an elementary student being cared for by your high school student. The key word, the two key words for getting through the next school year, not just that we need from you, but that you'll need from us. Those two key words is flexibility and patience. We're going to ask that you be flexible and that you be patient with us. And in return, we're going to be flexible and patient with you. That's the only way we navigate this. We're partners. We'll get through it together, and that's going to take some common sense and understanding on everybody's part. Now, that situation's hypothetical. We don't know what the protocol will be. We don't know what will be issued by ADH. But when we do know, rest assured, you'll be the first people to know. Another question was, if I don't want my student to return to a traditional classroom because I'm concerned about their safety, what are my options? So the district, in that survey, we're gathering information on what parents would need for that digital learning option to work for them. We want to provide an online educational program for the students and parents who aren't comfortable. And we're going to ask for you to sign up for that by a certain date. We are not ready to announce that date yet, but we will tell you that we're going to ask for you to commit to a minimum of 9 weeks. Here's why that's important. given all the circumstances that we have to face, the one thing that we have got to be able to rely on is a consistent, um, organized, and efficient schedule. And if students are transitioning in and out of face-to-face learning and a digital option, that's not going to be a stable day for our educators. And so we will ask that you at least commit to a minimum of 9 weeks. Upon returning to or at the end of that 9-week quarter, if you don't like the virtual learning option, we certainly will create kids a schedule. We'll get them in classes. We'll take care of all that. And we want you to know that if you do commit to the virtual educational or the virtual option, we will allow those students to participate in extracurricular activities. We will allow those students to participate in school organizations and clubs. That is an important part of the student experience, and it's one that we don't want to take away. Now, we are working on a contract for a virtual education program. There will be a lot's a terrible word. There will be requirements. Assignments and attendance will not be something that's taken lightly. If after a period of time a student is struggling or they're not turning in work, we will revisit that application and make another decision for that student with all the involved parties. Here's the thing. Learning isn't an option. New learning next year is not an option. Last year it was review and maintain, but that can't be the case this year. The expectation will be different, the bar will be raised, and we will be moving forward with new learning. We cannot allow that gap to grow. So if a student is participating in that virtual learning option, but they're not growing, we've got to get them back into the schoolhouse, okay? So, another real good question somebody asked, well, how will the school, how will you help fill gaps that my student has from last school year? Well, this week our teachers are coming in and we're going to do some work around curriculum and standards that weren't covered last year. Our teachers will collaboratively plan on how to make up for that lost time, and they're going to work on developing units of instruction that will cover the essential material that kids missed. Along those same lines, when school starts, we will assess kids just to determine individual strengths and weaknesses so that we can get them the support or the additional support that they need. And so all of that is getting ready to take place this week, and then we're going to bring teachers in the second and third week of July to continue creating those units of instruction. Another question was, what special precautions will be implemented in regards to cleaning and sanitizing? Folks, that was the first thing that we started working on. We brought in someone in early April to do professional development for the custodians, for the principals, and for myself. We have completely revamped our cleaning protocols and our plans. That was our highest priority. That was something we knew that we had to do from the very get-go. We can make all the educational plans that we want to, but if we can't keep the building clean and keep kids safe or from spreading COVID, there was no reason to even do that or even create educational plans. So we've installed hand sanitizer stations in each classroom. We're going to require kids to use them upon entering and exiting of that classroom, as well as at the end of each class, we're going to spray and wipe desks, doorknobs, and other commonly touched surfaces. Someone wanted to know, will kids be screened upon arrival? Yes. When kids show up, we will take their temperature. We'll ask a short series of questions, and then we'll quickly sanitize their hands before they move into the schoolhouse. Will we have open house? Yes, we are going to have open house. However, we're going to have a modified version of that. We're still working on what that looks like, and so we'll get that information to you as soon as we possibly can. We have no new news about graduation. We're still working and planning for graduation to take place in July. As soon as we get an official answer from ADE, we will pass that along. Y'all, that looks like it's all I'm going to have time for. I've got about 30 seconds. And so I appreciate you listening. I hope that this was informational. I know there are probably some concerns. If you've got concerns, feel free to email me at writem@mtree.k12.ar.us, and I'll gladly address any of those questions or concerns. I hope you have a great week, and until next Monday, have a good day.